Now we're coming to the next session, and our moderator Orla already hinted on it. We are now looking into unveiling the top AI ecosystems in the world. This is Dealroom's Global Tech Ecosystem Index, the sector edition, which is a toolkit to benchmark tech ecosystems by sectors. And presenting this deep dive is the research specialist at Dealroom Co. He's the author of Dealroom's Global Tech Ecosystem Index, so please join me in welcoming to the stage Felix Ullmer. Welcome.
Hi everyone. Well, very excited to be here. Let's see if we can get my slides on there as well. So let's give that a second. So now that we've learned a lot about AI nations and all of that, I wanted to take a step back and zoom out a little bit with you and talk about the general development of tech ecosystems. So let's see if we can get that. There we go. All right, perfect. Yeah, wanted to talk about the general development of tech ecosystems. And just to give you some context, in May of this year, we launched the Global Tech Ecosystem Index 2025, where we benchmarked 281 cities around the world and trying to understand which ones are the most exciting tech ecosystems. This is the most referenced and also most transparent report in tech ecosystems, trusted by governments, investors, and founders alike. And today we're building on that work and adding sectors data. We're just going to add a treasure trove of new insights. And this is really interesting if you're a government policymaker or an ecosystem builder and you're trying to understand trends in global technology and how these affect your ecosystem and ultimately how you can participate in that growth. So why do sectors matter? Why should you care, essentially? We understand ecosystem development to run across technology waves. So in the 1970s, we have the PC era. In the late 90s, we have the global economy getting transformed by the internet, followed by mobile in the 2000s. And today, we find ourselves at a new frontier with AI, deep techs, robotics, and more. And I want to highlight a little bit the sectors that we look at here, and that it's not necessarily about positioning your ecosystem for the biggest sectors, but it's about the opportunities for the future. So we benchmark 16 different sectors here, and the fastest growing of those are not maybe fintech or life sciences or sort of these classically large ones, but we see that defense, semiconductors, cybersecurity, and the like are actually the growth opportunities of the last 5 years. And we want to help you answer these questions, what the growth opportunities of the future are, and how you can take part in that with your city. And essentially, we're here to answer 3 key industrial policy questions. Which sectors or industries should you prioritize and nurture? How do your sectors compare globally? And how can you develop the right mix of mature and emerging sectors? And before I show you how to do this with a few live demos, I want to say a few words on how this index works. So we rank all of these cities in 2 categories. First, the global champions, which are the world's biggest and most established startup ecosystems, where we look at venture capital, enterprise value, unicorns, patents, and university linkages in absolute numbers. And then we have another category, the density leaders, where we look at those same metrics per capita to shine the light on some smaller cities that might still be world class. And we do this for all of the 16 sectors, which, as you can imagine, is a lot of ranks, but you'll see in a second how that allows us to do some very interesting analysis that really shines the light on the sector composition of an ecosystem. So before we get there, what we can do today is look at the sector performance within a city, but also compare the profile of a city with its peers. And this allows you to really understand which sectors you should double down on, maybe which gaps to address, and yeah, essentially what policy to make. So we're trying to help you make more data-driven decisions with these insights. So let me do a live demo. Again, fingers crossed. This is always the part which gets a little bit exciting because you never know what happens. but let's hope everything goes well. So if you are in the Dealroom platform, if the internet works here, and you navigate to the Locations tab, I'll also show you guys how to get there in a second. You can see we have this dashboard. This is something we launched in May with the Tech Ecosystem Index, and we're building on it today. So I'll briefly show you what we already have, and then how to learn more about this sector's data. So if we click here to the Global Champions section, which I just told you about, and say we want to look at the data for the sector FinTech, we can see here we have a global benchmark of all of these cities, and we also have transparent data on venture capital, on enterprise value, on the number of alumni founders from local universities, patents, and even more. And to me, when I look at the sector's data, the first thing I look at is which cities really over-index here. So for example, for FinTech, if we take a brief look, what stands out to me is Singapore, which rises to its rank in the overall Global Tech Ecosystem Index. So it's essentially a very strong FinTech hub. We have the same here for Hong Kong, which, as we know, they're traditional financial cities, and it's interesting to see that this sort of continues in technology as well. We have the same data also for the density leaders. And yeah, I wanted to give you an idea of everything that we have here, but let me actually get to the more interesting part. So when you click on this sector strength section here, you see for every single city its entire strengths and weaknesses profile. So let me show you a few examples. Let's say Tokyo. So we immediately see where Tokyo excels and which gaps it can address. And I want to tell you, this is not necessarily like its most successful or even biggest industries, but it's something more interesting to me. It shows you which sectors are more globally competitive. So which sectors over-index to Tokyo's overall place in the world. And again, we can see here, Tokyo's doing very well in space, in climate tech, and in deep tech, whereas it could address relative weaknesses in energy, life science, and so on. And I think sort of the lessons from this can be manifold. Maybe you're an ecosystem that really wants to own a sector, that really wants to succeed in a sector cluster, and this can give you an idea of where you can really double down. Or if you're an ecosystem that's really broadly placed, maybe you want to address some gaps. Again, we can help you with interpreting this data, but it's all there for you to explore. And we not only have the global champions, as I already said, but we also have the data per capita, which for Tokyo is actually an interesting case, because Tokyo is just such a gigantic city that it ranks fairly low per capita, which causes it to actually over-index in most sectors. And I just want to stress that even though this is sort of an interesting quirk, it still allows you to see the relative performance of sectors within a city. So again, we see here space, semiconductors, and gaming being very strong. And let me bring up another example. So since we are in Dubai today, I wanted to also take a quick look at Dubai. So let us do that. So we see Dubai is doing very strong in crypto, in robotics, in fintech. And you can also quickly identify where it is maybe not doing so great. And we'll get back to some questions in a second. So you can find, I'll come around, ask some questions, which cities you want to look at, and we can do this with a bunch of your home places as well. But before I do that, there's a last feature I want to show you, which is how to compare across cities. So here, this is obviously nice and at a glance, but say I want to compare, let's just pick some cities from another part of the world here. So how about Paris, Austin, and San Diego? You can do this here, hit compare, and not only do you have the comparison of all their raw data, you can now also compare their sector profiles. And this, I mean, the first time you see it, it may look a little bit overwhelming, but trust me, this is actually really cool. So essentially what this shows us is the performance of a city across all these 16 sectors, as I mentioned. And what I want to stress is that just because you have a certain rank in the overall benchmark doesn't necessarily mean that like one ecosystem is better than another, But for us, it's really about deconstructing that narrative and allowing you to see beyond that. So if we take a look here, for example, San Diego seems to over-index and be very competitive in life sciences. I can also see here in defense. But on the other hand, Paris is doing very good in transportation, in gaming, and in climate tech. And on the other hand, Austin is succeeding in semiconductors, in food, and in space. So this gives you a very quick idea of how you compare to your peers. And not just how you compare to your peers as an ecosystem overall, but where you have unique strengths and where your peers might also have their unique strengths. So before we conclude all of this, maybe we have some time to get some ideas from the audience and see if there's some cities that you would like to take a look at, be that the comparisons or probably most interesting right now to take a quick look at the sector composition of each city. So let's see, we'll have a lovely moderator walking around and giving you a mic if you want to see a specific city. So let's see, just give me a show of hands over there. We have a show of hands over there, so let's get a mic for you. Yes, do you want to quickly say your name and where you're from? Okay, let's give you a second to sort out the mic. No worries, we'll get you a new one right away. Very curious what city we're going to look at with him. All right, gotcha.
Hi, I'm Sebastian, I'm from Poland, but I
Perfect.
would like to look into Singapore.
At Singapore?
Yes.
All right, Poland wants to look at Singapore. Interesting choice, but let's just do that. So let's just do both the density leaders and the champions for Singapore. And we see, this is the thing that I would do here first. We see Singapore is already a very globally competitive ecosystem. It ranks 13th in this tech ecosystem index that we published in May. And then we can see it is actually very, very strong in crypto, 4th in the world. It is also doing very good in fintech, in gaming, and in semiconductors. So for me, sometimes I have like a vibe of what a certain city is strong in. And for me, for example, crypto and fintech, yeah, those are fairly obvious, but I wasn't actually so aware that gaming is a very strong sector in Singapore as well. And we can see here cybersecurity and robotics, maybe not so much. So let's look at the per capita lens here again, which gives rise to a little bit of a different perspective. So again, crypto's at the top here, but we can also see that semiconductors are actually very strong, and again, fintech and gaming. Let's see. Do we have any other cities that we want to look at? Yes, another show of hands. Let's get it. We'll get you a mic.
Mumbai.
Mumbai. All right, let's do Mumbai. Okay, all right. You see, it's very, very quick and easy. I'll have a QR code up here in a second so you can try that out for yourself and do it for all of the ecosystems you are interested in your own time. So again, very brief analysis. The beautiful thing here actually is that I don't need to do some very complicated thing here because it is really easy to understand where you are overperforming. And again, I've said it before, these are not the biggest sectors, those are the most globally competitive sectors, so those where you can actually win. So we see Mumbai is, gaming is strong, crypto is very strong, and again, we see here that, yeah, the increase in rank is maybe larger than Singapore, which was 13th ranked overall. Mumbai being a ecosystem in the rank of 100s, you obviously need a larger movement to really indicate a step change here, rather than just a small one as in the maybe top 20 or top 50. So again, gaming is very strong, crypto, fintech, and lagging in semiconductors and life sciences. So is that roughly in line with what you were expecting? Does that pass the vibe check? Okay, very, very well. Happy to see that. Let's see, let's maybe do one more. Okay, we got a lot of hands, that's great, love it. A lot of interest.
Hi, why are you from Malaysia? And I want to see Kuala Lumpur.
Sorry, can you come again? I didn't understand.
Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur. Where are you from?
Malaysia.
Malaysia, wonderful. All right, I love KL, big fan. Okay, let's do Kuala Lumpur up here. Okay, all right, again, easy analysis. Transportation doing very well. And again, I want to stress here that you can see it is really over-indexing in transportation, but maybe not so much in semiconductors and robotics. So transportation is very strong in Malaysia, in KL. Crypto is very strong in fintech. And yeah, surprisingly, AI not so much. Maybe interesting why that is. But as I've shown previously, AI is actually not, like, even though it is one of the biggest sectors in the world right now and kind of the hottest, it actually isn't the one that grew the fastest, because as I showed, defense and cybersecurity are actually the ones where you can participate in more growth to come, and maybe it is actually good to position yourself for those rather than for AI, which already seems very saturated. Okay, maybe as the last thing, should we do a comparison real quick? Maybe let's get like 3 peer cities. Let's try to have them be somewhat comparable, because obviously we're not going to compare San Francisco with a city that's not really in the same ballpark here. But let's see if we have some ideas, and then we'll close up. So let's just get that. So we have one here in the front. Could you show your hand again so we can pass you a mic? Yeah, but I've done like 16 examples. Yeah. Okay. All right. Where are you from, and what would you like to look at?
I am from Bangalore. So shall I name the one or all the 3?
Yeah, we can look at 3. Let's just do 3.
The comparison, right?
Sorry, you have to speak up a little bit. I can't really hear you.
The comparison, right? I can name one or all the 3 cities.
Let's just have all 3. Let's see it.
Okay. Bangalore, New York.
Bangalore. Okay. What was the second one?
New York.
New York. All right, that's a bold choice.
Yeah. Sydney.
Sydney. Okay. All right. These are some very far-flung ecosystems. I will have a suspicion here that New York is probably a lot bigger in most sectors than these other 2 are. So yeah, that kind of comes true here. But hey, actually something really cool happening here. Maybe if we cut out New York, so maybe let's just do that real quick. Take a look at just those 2 cities, which seem to be a little bit more interesting. Okay, we have in orange Sydney and in purple Bangalore. Okay, so fintech and deep tech. Bangalore is leading, whereas in health and medtech, in energy, Sydney is ahead. And you can actually really nicely see here sort of this differential composition of sector strengths. So it's not that one is a better ecosystem, it is really that you can win in different places. And we are thinking a lot at Dealroom about ecosystem development, how we can help you position yourself, how we can help you make better data-driven decisions. And these tools and these insights are really just a big stepping stone on the way there. So, well, thank you so much. I hope this was insightful. Let me just get back to this slide, which is actually the end of our presentation. So as I already said, you can try this out right now. Just scan the QR code or go to Dealroom/Tech Ecosystem Index 2025. We'll have it all there for you to try out. And if you're interested in how we can help you measure your ecosystem, make more and better data-driven decisions, and just generally advise in ecosystem development, come and talk to our team. I'm Felix, you've already seen me. All my other lovely team members are also here at the stage right now. And for everyone that's coming with us to the dinner tonight, we very much look forward to see you there. And to everyone else, have a lovely rest of GITEX and X-Brand North Star. Thank you so much.